I have great news for you guys. The list of HomeKit secure video doorbells has now doubled. We went from 1 to having 2. That's right, we now have the Logitech View doorbell with HomeKit secure video. Today, I'm going to tell you 10 things that you need to know about this before you buy it. Let's jump into the video. Welcome back, friends. If this is your first time here, my name is Eric. If you're into smart home, home automation, and especially HomeKit, this is the place to be. So make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. So I've been waiting for a great HomeKit camera to come to market. I've actually tested a few of those on this channel before. We tested the YOBI, and unfortunately, it was just too big. The footage was not great, and it did not have HomeKit secure video. And then I tested the Robin, and although it has HomeKit secure video, there's many other aspects of that doorbell that the average general homeowner just can't overcome. And then this past Tuesday on the Apple website, unannounced, the brand new Logitech View doorbell popped up. As soon as I saw it, I ordered it right away. Luckily enough, they FedExed it to me overnight and got it Wednesday evening, and I installed it right away and I've been using it all week. Now, spoiler alert, it's pretty good, but unfortunately, it's not great. So here are my 10 things that you want to know before you buy it. Now, one of the very first things I noticed on the website before I got the doorbell was that the footage is in vertical format, which they call portrait view, with a 3x4 format, 1200 by 1600, with 160-degree field of vision diagonally. Some companies measure horizontally, some companies measure diagonally. They disclose they measured diagonally, which to me, it's great that it's 160 degrees, but personally, I'd rather have a horizontal or landscape field of vision with horizontally 160 degrees rather than vertically. Now, that's a personal preference. I don't know about you, but I want to see as much as possible of the front of my house of what's going on, not just this narrow view. It's not like we walk around all day with blinders on like a horse and only can see this. We want to see everything, and we don't need to see the sky. We don't need to see people's feet. Yes, it's great to see packages. If you get a lot of packages and you're concerned about that, one of the things that you can do is get a wedge with a 15% degree down, and you can see a little bit further down. But having that horizontal or having that vertical format, you're stuck with that for the life of that doorbell. Just think about walking around like this all day. Now, on the plus side, the footage from this camera is amazing. It is a 5 megapixel camera, 1200 by 1600, and I gotta admit, it's probably some of the best footage I've ever seen from a doorbell camera. It also has high dynamic range, or HDR, so even in bright sunlight, if someone is standing at your front door, you'll be able to see them. You can see what's happening in the background. It's not going to be blurred out or overexposed or underexposed. With that high dynamic range, you'll be able to see everything crystal clear. Now, taking that footage and moving into night, I gotta admit the color night vision is pretty awesome. Now, this is the first time I've seen it in a doorbell, and in most cases, and in most people's homes, that's going to be fine. Personally, I keep my outside lights on all night, and that color night vision is very useful because I can see 15-20 feet. I can see pretty much my whole front yard in color. But if you're in pitch dark and you have to use the onboard LED light strip, which is about 4,000 Kelvin, it's not super bright. You can only see about 5 or 6 feet. So if someone's walking up, you're not going to see them until they're pretty much on top of the door. Most cases, that'd be fine, but if you have a use case that you need to see a little bit further, a doorbell camera with infrared lights can actually see much further. Now, you're not going to see it as clear and you're not going to see it in color, but those infrared lights can definitely pick up someone 15-20 feet away, where color camera, night vision, is only going to see it 5 or 6 feet away because it's depending on that LED light strip. One of the things about the LED light strip is that it will automatically turn on when the onboard light sensor notices that it gets dark, and vice versa. When it gets brighter in the morning, pretty much at dawn, it will turn off that LED light strip. Also, some people might think that it's too bright at night, so there is a setting in the home app that you can totally turn it off, but unfortunately there's no other settings. It's either on on automatically or it's off altogether. The doorbell also has a motion sensor that's exposed to HomeKit. Unfortunately, it's video based, otherwise known as pixel based, and a lot of times you're going to get false notifications because you got wind blowing trees and bushes. Even bugs at night or dust at night can set off that type of motion sensor. If you use it to trigger other devices in your HomeKit home, you're going to have things turning on when they should not. So just FYI, that motion sensor is probably not very useful. Now, if you happen to have a HomeKit lock, I've seen in a previous keynote where you actually had a single option to unlock it from the video footage. Unfortunately, I haven't seen that option yet. I've only seen the two-step process where you hit the button in the bottom right corner and then your lock will show up in there. In that screen, you can edit whatever accessories you want to quickly access from the video footage, but it is a two-step process rather than that one. I'm not quite sure if Apple is going to enable that one-step process. To me, I think that might be a little bit unsecure where you can accidentally hit it when you really meant to like talk to someone. So having that two-step process is a little bit more secure. And when it comes to the physical design of this doorbell, I gotta tell you, it's pretty slim, it's pretty small. It's not the smallest doorbell I've ever seen. It's definitely the smallest HomeKit doorbell I've seen. The height comes in around about 119 millimeters and the width comes in about 42 millimeters. So if you have a very thin door frame, just measure that to make sure it's 42 millimeters or bigger. On the front of the device, you have the camera on the top, you have the night vision light, you have the status light, and then you have the push button light. On the very bottom is the microphone and the speaker. You also have a release button, which I'll talk more about in a moment. And then you have a micro USB port, which gets hidden when it's mounted. For some reason, you need to take it out, you need to charge it up or do some type of maintenance on it. It's all gonna be done through that micro USB plug. And then on the back, you have your HomeKit pairing code, and then these little two pinpoints actually supply power to the device. They actually connect to the mount itself where the wires are connected, which I'll talk more about in just a moment. It does have full duplex audio, so once you hit that talk button, you'll be able to talk back and forth without holding anything down. You'll have free conversation. And I gotta tell you, it sounded pretty good, both on the mic side and also on the speaker side. How do I sound?
You sound good.
Alright, how do I, you sound good too, I can hear you just fine. You look good.
My husband is torturing me by making all these types of videos and telling me to be a part of them when I don't really want to.
Thank you for your help. I do wish that the speaker was much louder though, but that's pretty much with all video doorbells. There's not many of them out there I've tested that are loud enough to hear with kids playing in the background. But you know, most people, if they can't hear you, they're just going to get closer to that doorbell and they can hear you just fine because it is clear, it's just not very loud. So I wish it was a little bit louder. Now this is a wired doorbell, so you will need doorbell wires at your front door for power. But when it comes to communication, it is a Wi-Fi doorbell, which it does run on 2.4 and also 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. The cool things about this doorbell that I haven't seen in other HomeKit doorbells is that you can have two streams both at the same time. All the other video doorbells that I've tested previously, if you had one stream, if you had someone looking at the live view and you had your spouse jump on and looking at the live view, say someone rang the doorbell and both of you looked at the live view, one of you guys got a message saying someone already is looking at it. With this camera though, with this doorbell, you can both look at it at the same time. That's right, you can have two people looking at the same live stream at the same time. Now, I tested the 3, and unfortunately, 3 does not work. It's only limited to 2 people or 2 streams. And when it came to installation, it's pretty easy. It's just like pretty much every other video doorbell out there on the market. One of the things that I did notice is that on the back of the video doorbell, there are no screws. It's just two little points that connect to the points on the mount itself. Now they did include two mounts, one mount that looks straight out at 0 degrees and a second mount that looks out at 20 degrees. You can flip that second mount over to face the other direction at 20 degrees. Unfortunately, if you need something a little bit more, a little bit less, that is not available yet. Now of course the aftermarket will come out with their own mounts, but one thing to keep in mind is that your wires from your house are actually tied into the mount themselves, rather than the wires going through the mount and tying into the doorbell itself. So in my particular case, it looks like I'm gonna have to jerry-rig something until something comes available. Now they say this design of the wire going to the mount rather than going to the doorbell is to make it easier to install, which honestly that was easier, where you just push in the wire, you have to push in the button on the inside to push in the wire. That does make it easier. But the thing to keep in mind, something that's easier to install is also easier to uninstall or steal. So you take a little pin or a paper clip, push it, done. No wires, nothing to cut, just out, done. Now understand, any video doorbell is open to theft, and it does happen all the time. Now the thing to keep in mind with this one is with that narrow field of vision or that vertical format, people can walk over to the side, reach around, and pop this thing off in no time. And unfortunately, I didn't see any replacement plan on their website, where like Nest and Ring, they do have a replacement plan. Of course, you have to go through all the procedure or the red tape to get it. I'm sure you have to do a police report. There probably has to be some footage. So if something like this doesn't see any footage of someone actually stealing it, they're not going to replace it. So just keep aware of that. You saw how easy it is to take on and take off. So if you're worried about theft, this one might not be for you. Now they say they can support doorbell transformers from 8 volts all the way up to 24 volts. So if you don't already have one there, make sure you hire an electrician to install this. Since this doorbell is going to be outside, you might be worried about the weather conditions. It does have a waterproof rating of IP65, and they say if you have a transformer from 8 volts to 16 volts, you can have ambient temperatures from -20 Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius, otherwise known as -4 Fahrenheit, all the way up to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you have a 17 volt to 24 volt transformer, you can go from -20 degrees Celsius to +45 degrees Celsius, which turns out to -4 degrees Fahrenheit, all the way up to 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Now there were a couple reports already saying that people left it or put it directly in the sun, and unfortunately it overheated. Now this is second-hand knowledge, it's just hearsay. I don't know if that's true or not. I live in a cold climate and it's been great the last few days, no issues whatsoever. But they say specifically this cannot go in direct sunlight. So if you live in a high temperature area with direct sunlight, this will not work for you. It does come with a chime kit, so if you have a indoor chime, if it's mechanical, you should be good to go. It's really easy to install. But if you have an electrical chime, I noticed if you have batteries, it's not going to work at all. And then some of the electrical ones, it was a kind of hit or miss when I was playing around with the website. So, I would say if you don't have one that doesn't work with this unit, you don't need to get one that does. Just get a bunch of HomePods and HomePod minis, scatter them out through your house, and you'll be good to go. It'll ring on all of them all at the same time, and you don't need to waste time with that old technology. But if you do, it's pretty easy to install. Actually, it took me probably about 10 or 15 minutes, and if it can't fit in there, you have to mount it to the top. It's much bigger than some of the other chime kits that I've seen. But if you need it, you gotta use it. It's the only thing they have. Now, if you're brand new to HomeKit Secure Video and you don't know what it is Apple's recording program for their doorbells and their cameras, and you will need a subscription. Now, if you get a 500 gigabyte iCloud account, I forget what the cost is, you can have up to 1 HomeKit Secure Video doorbell. But if you get their 2 terabyte plan, you can have up to 5 HomeKit secure video doorbells. What that's going to allow you to do is to have those 5 cameras record whatever is happening and save it on your iCloud account. Now understand, these are clip recordings. It is not recording 24/7. It is just going to pick up motion, and once it picks up motion, it's going to start recording and then send that to your iCloud account. That video footage is going to be kept on your iCloud for 10 days, and that footage is also not counted against your iCloud account. So if you have 500 gigs or 2 terabytes, that's what you have for other things. Your footage is counted 0 for the entire thing for 10 days. Now, of course, all HomeKit doorbells, you can ring your chime on all your HomePods or just one HomePod. You can decide which one it chimes on. Now, if you have the HomeKit secure video service, you're also going to get facial recognition, and that's going to start recognizing people in your photos. And also, if it's not in your photos, you can name the person. So next time they come and ring the doorbell, it will actually announce their name on all your HomePods. If you happen to be watching on your Apple TV device, you actually have a pop-up when someone rings the doorbell, and it'll display who it is, and you can press the TV button to see it in full screen. Now there's a bunch of other notification settings in your iPhone, depending on if you're home or not, time of day, that type of thing. Those are all personal to you, so definitely look those over. There's also a bunch of recording options, so if you're home and you want the cameras off or to stream only, you can set that up. Or when you're away, where you want to stream and record when you're not home, you can set all that up within settings. One of the other settings I do want to mention in the HomeKit secure video is the activity zones. So you can actually map out the areas that you want to get notified, so you don't have to worry about those setting off false notifications. Now you can set as many zones as you want. Unfortunately though, you cannot overlap them. You just draw the shape that you want, and once you're done, you save it. Also, if you want to invert the zones and only get notified of things outside that zone, you have that option. Now when it came to the cooldown period between those notifications, I did notice HomeKit secure video is about 10 to 30 seconds. I don't know why, sometimes I got 10 seconds, sometimes I got 30 seconds, but what this is once it triggers a notification, when is the next time it's going to trigger another notification. So if someone, say for instance, someone delivers a package and they take off, and then someone else comes within those 30 seconds, you might not get a notification. Now the likelihood of someone coming behind in exactly 30 seconds or less is unlikely, but other doorbell cameras out there and also video cameras have like 3 minutes, 5-minute cooldown periods, where I think that's just terrible. So having HomeKit secure video with only a 10 to 30 second cooldown period is awesome. Alright guys, so you can see how good this camera is. I'm super excited. We have another HomeKit secure video doorbell on the market, and it's super affordable. The sizing of it is amazing. It can fit most homes out there, and guess what? It's only what, $199, $200. So it's definitely within most people's budget for a video doorbell. Now that being said, I do have some reservations about this doorbell, which I mentioned in this video. I do say this doorbell is good, but it is not great. There's a lot of improvements I would like to see in a video doorbell with HomeKit secure video. I would love to see one that is horizontal or in landscape mode, or even better, some way to choose what format you want. Why hasn't anyone done this yet? I think I've seen one phone that can do this. All right guys, I'm gonna get off my soapbox here. Let me know down below what you think of that vertical format, and also that color night vision. Is it cool or is it not cool? Let me know down below. I want to thank all my Patreon members. These guys are awesome. If you want to learn the benefits of becoming one of my Patrons, definitely check that out right there. And if you want to see the next video in my awesome HomeKit series, check out that video right there. And if you want to see more future HomeKit content, hit that subscribe button down below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm out.
No, nothing can break me.